Okay, William, on to the Alfa. You know, one of my very first cars was an Alfa, and it was a true 1990s Alfa experience. That is, wasn't very fast. At night, the headlights didn't work. When it rained, the wipers didn't work, and when I locked it, it would just unlock itself. And of course, if I left it alone for more than about 3 or 4 hours, the battery would run dead and I'd have to get it jump started. But the engine always ran, and it looked awesome. And I had an Alfa Romeo key, which I thought was certainly going to get me laid. There's no doubt about it. I was just a young guy with a fancy European car. They didn't need to know that nothing worked in it. It was an Alfa Romeo, and I was pretty proud. Well, how things have changed. This is nothing like my Alfa from the 1990s. For a start, Alfa Romeo's back here in the US and doing pretty well, producing some pretty amazing automobiles. Although this one keeps beeping at me and I don't know why. It doesn't actually come up with anything. But the engine is incredible. The interior is lovely. The handling is impressive. It's a well put together bit of kit, this Alfa Romeo. This of course is competing with the Audis, the BMWs, the Mercedes, for something just a little different. You know, if you don't want the regular German brands, go with an Italian. Certainly faster than most of them. Hauls ass, this car. So, how do I find driving it? Well, the seats are firm, but comfy. I feel a little high up, and I guess I'm not used to driving SUVs is probably the problem, because I've still got plenty of headroom. And I take the corners with surprising agility. You know, I'm not worried about the corners because it handles so flat through the corners. It just shocks me. And the power of that 2.9 litre twin turbo, whoa, it's very impressive indeed. And the all-wheel drive system tends to send all the power to the back most of the time. So it truly feels rear biased, which is nice. The gauges are nicely laid out, easy to understand. Everybody moans and grizzles about the infotainment system, but of course Apple CarPlay fixes all that. And if I switch it into manual mode, then these beautiful big aluminium paddles come into action. So drop it down a couple of gears here, second, third, fourth. Yeah, pretty nice. Back down a gear, back up a gear. Very responsive. This is a lot of fun to drive. Let's do a takeoff and hear the sound of this engine. Okay, takeoff. Give it a bit of beans, get the brakes off, here we go. Woohoo! Okay, let's test the maximum reverse speed. Here we go. It's got to do well to beat that Mustang. Up. That's it. My foot's to the floor. It's got a top reverse speed of 24 miles an hour. I think this is going to lose the reverse speed challenge. That's it. It's dropped to 21 miles an hour. My foot's still to the floor. It's only doing 18 miles an hour. So I stopped to have a quick look around the outside and the inside, and frankly, you know, the first time I saw this vehicle on a video, I was but now that I've seen it in real life and I've seen it on the highway a few times, I was quite impressed. I quite like it from the rear end. I really like the Alfa Romeo front grille. It's handsome. It's as handsome as any other car in the segment. Obviously, looks are subjective and everyone's taste is different, but I like the look of these. And here on the inside, you know, they call it sparse luxury, but you know, It's as nice as any other car in the segment. Certainly I like it more than a lot of the BMWs. The Audis, I really like the Audis, but yeah, the Audis are in a lot of ways class leading. And the Mercedes also, very glitzy, the Mercedes. So this perhaps isn't as glitzy as the Mercedes, but I think it's nice. I really like the steering wheel, I like the materials. It feels nice, the leather feels nice. The buttons all have a reassuring feel to them, as do the handles. I really like the paddle shifters, they're a good solid clunk. Instrument cluster, very clear. Here it's showing the main. If I press this button on the end of the stalk here, you get the other menu options, which is just a trip computer, and I think that's the G-force meter. And then around here you've got this particular car's got active cruise control, and a nice touch is you've got the buttons to move tracks as well as the volume all on the steering wheel. And the steering wheel is very pretty. Alfa Romeo on here, and the stop-stop switch, which I do like it when it's placed on the steering wheel. I'm always looking for it down here, of course, but here it is on the steering wheel and looking very pretty. And across on the other stalk, there's the button for the lane assist, which I'm sure is what was beeping when I was driving before. That was probably turned on, and I was probably getting warnings that I'm leaving the lane. Over here is the infotainment system. Everyone rags on the infotainment system, but as I said, Apple CarPlay fixes that. Not that it's that terrible anyway. I think they're just trying to avoid putting the standard fare Chrysler system in here, so they developed Alfa their own one. And the gear lever reminds me a lot of BMW gear levers. Works exactly the same way as a lot of BMWs. And there's little cup holders here, and the little carbon fiber slider there. Very nice. And these all got a good feel to them. Nice white dials. Yeah, the interior is very nice. There's a large cubby hole down here for your bits and pieces. 3 USB ports in the front, and red deviated stitching. Very nice. It's got a huge sunroof, this one. What's it like in the back there, Will? Looks pretty spacious. Yeah, there's plenty of trunk space as well. The seats are a combo Alcantara leather. Alcantara to give you a bit of grip in the middle, and leather on the outside that might wear a little better. And what I like is that there's just a little clover leaf here and there. The clover leaf has always been one of my favorite Alfa things, and you can see it down here on the dash there. And of course there's one outside, and there's just a couple more sprinkled around. When I had my Alfa back in the 90s, I stuck clover leaves all over it, even though it wasn't a clover leaf model. Sort of like saying your car's an M car when it's not. Yeah, the Alfa is certainly a nice place to be. I'm very impressed with it. Very different than the Alfas of yesteryear. I guess time will tell how well they stand up once they're out of their warranty period. But for now, I would be happy to drive one of these every day, that's for sure.